The desert seems quiet, peaceful even. But stillness has a way of hiding horrors. Things buried under sand and silence. Stories that weren't supposed to escape the dunes. These aren't legends. These aren't myths. These are real. 3 people stepped into the desert and came back with something they can never forget. Story 1: The Thing Beneath the Mojave. It started like any other weekend adventure. A group of high school seniors from Nevada, born and raised under dusty skies and endless heat, were hungry for something new. Not the mall, not a party, something deeper, something older, something forgotten. For years, they had been obsessed with urban exploring, abandoned train stations, empty schools, decrepit tunnels. It wasn't about vandalism or thrill-seeking in the reckless sense. It was about uncovering echoes of the past, finding life in the ruins. And when Charles, the quiet one, sent a screenshot from a bizarre, low-follower Instagram account, they didn't even hesitate. Dozens of abandoned mine shafts in the Mojave Desert. If you know where to look, no location, no context. Just blurry images and unsettling comments. Some said it was a cursed land. Others claimed to hear voices. But Charles, he was hooked. And his friends trusted him, even if they didn't say it out loud. So on a bright Saturday morning, 3 boys packed into a Jeep Wrangler, the kind that could eat sand for breakfast, and drove into the heart of the Mojave. At first, it was just dust and silence. The farther they got, the less like Earth it felt. There were no signs, no birds, no tire marks, just sand that hadn't been disturbed in decades, if ever. Then they found it, tucked into a slope like a wound in the skin of the earth. A half-collapsed wooden structure. A mouth without a voice. A mine shaft, the kind that had claimed lives when gold was more precious than blood. Charles tossed a rock into the darkness. 1, 2, 3 clinks, then nothing. They descended. The air turned colder, heavier. The walls were skeletal. Wooden beams, rusted rails, collapsed carts. Dust clung to the beams like rot. And still, they walked. The mine opened into a wider tunnel, branching like veins. They weren't speaking anymore, just exploring. And then, a sound. Faint. Distant. Like something heavy being dragged. They froze. It wasn't imagination. Charles heard it. All of them did. Flashlights off. In the pitch dark, their ears became eyes. The dragging got louder. Not fast. Slow. Deliberate. It echoed off every wall. Then silence. Then sealang. Something dropped. Hard. Then a scream. Not human. Bite marks. Not animal bite marks. Human-sized. Jagged. Unnatural. As if something with no business having teeth had tried to taste flesh. They left in silence. The Instagram account never responded. The shaft. Probably still there. Waiting. Whatever screamed that day in the deep wasn't done yet. Story 2. The fire starter in the dark. To most people, the desert is lifeless, a place of sun and dust. But to those who've slept under its stars, truly slept alone and miles from civilization, the desert is not dead. It's waiting. Tiki and her boyfriend thought they were just looking for peace, a break from the buzz of life, a weekend away to reconnect under open skies. No amenities, no campers, no phones, just them, a fire ring, and the stars. At first it was perfect. They drank wine by the fire, shared stories, laughed under a sky so wide it made them feel like ants. They even heard strange sounds. Long, low howls, but brushed it off as wildlife. Until the third night, he woke up first. A sound. Footsteps. Not fast. Not clumsy. Intentional. He didn't move. His eyes locked on the ceiling of the tent. He wanted to believe it was the wind. A deer. Anything. But then he heard it. Flick. A lighter. Outside the tent. A small flame danced through the fabric. At first playful. Then it started moving. Back and forth. And then it grew. The flame roared. They scrambled. Screamed. Fought the fire with whatever water they had. But the tent was gone. And whoever set the blaze vanished into the desert night. They packed. Fast. But the desert had more to say. As they walked blindly through the dark, trying to find the truck, the screams started again. But this time they weren't distant. They weren't one. There were many, wailing. crying, like tortured souls stuck in a loop, like something primal had awakened. They didn't run, they marched, arm in arm, a pact of silence, a silent prayer. Somehow they found the truck. They didn't look back. The road out was long and broken. Every bounce felt like the desert trying to yank them back. But when they hit pavement, they cried. They reported the attack. But there was no proof, no tracks, no name, no reason, just flames and the question that would follow them for the rest of their lives. Who was out there? Or worse, what was out there? Story 3, the name that saved my life. Sometimes the scariest things aren't creatures or monsters. Sometimes the horror is blood, secrets, family. He never knew much about his mom's life. Before she came to the US, she was from a small town near the Texas-Mexico border. That's all she'd say. Every time he asked, she'd laugh it off or change the subject. But something always felt off. Her eyes would shift. Her voice would change. Like she was guarding a story too dangerous to tell. There was one thing he remembered from childhood. A name. Just a letter. R. He didn't know who or what it referred to. Just that one night, he caught his mom whispering it into the phone. Parked sideways on the road, another behind him, men with guns. Faces like stone. They didn't shoot, they just took everything. Phone, wallet, keys. But one man climbed into his truck. The phone was still connected. His mom was still on the line, and that man didn't hang up. He listened. Then he spoke. They had a conversation. A long one. In Spanish, he couldn't understand, but he watched the man's face change. Heard the sound of a name being repeated. R. The men came back. Their eyes are different now. Measured, cold, but cautious. They returned everything but the cash. Then one smiled and said, "Tax," and they disappeared into the desert, cars vanishing like ghosts. No plates, no names. His mom said she had threatened to call the police. But he didn't believe her. She knew something. Or worse, someone. That night, something ancient stirred. Not in the desert, but in his blood. A name buried. A story unfinished. And he realized the horror wasn't what happened on that road. The horror was knowing his mother had saved his life, but had done it with power. Power that no normal person should have. Power that maybe came from R. And now he has to ask himself what happens. Old things. Hidden things. And when they wake up, there's no one around to hear you scream. You wanted isolation. You got it. And in the desert, no one comes back the same. If you're ever tempted to explore a forgotten shaft, camp under the stars, or drive alone down a dusty highway, remember one thing: not everything buried stays dead.